The first alien ship appeared over Earth on a Tuesday morning in March 2387. It was massive, bigger than any city Sarah Chun had ever seen. The ship looked like a crystal mountain floating in space, with thousands of lights dancing across its surface. Sarah stood on the observation deck of the Luna station, watching through the reinforced glass as more ships arrived. They came from every direction, filling Earth's sky with strange shapes and colors. Sarah was 53 years old and had spent most of her life in space. She commanded the Earth Defense Fleet, though everyone knew the name was more hope than reality. Humanity had only been traveling between stars for 300 years. Their fastest ships could barely reach half the speed of light. Their weapons were simple nuclear missiles and laser cannons. Now, looking at the alien fleet above Earth, Sarah realized how small and weak humans really were. The aliens had been watching humanity for decades. Earth's radio signals had reached their worlds long ago. They knew about human wars, human violence, and human expansion into space. What they saw worried them greatly. In all their thousands of years of space travel, they had never met a species quite like humans. The leader of the alien fleet was named Zixtara. She belonged to a species called the Zephyrians. Her body was made of living crystal that changed colors as she spoke. She stood 12 feet tall and had no face as humans understood it, just patterns of light that moved across her crystal head. When she spoke, her voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Admiral Chun," Zixtara said through the translation device, "we represent the Galactic Confederation. We have come to offer your species membership in our great alliance." Sarah tried to hide her excitement. First contact with alien life was the dream of every human. Scientists had wondered for centuries if Earth was alone in the universe. Now, she knew the answer. Not only was humanity not alone, but there was an entire confederation of alien species spanning the galaxy. "We are honored by your offer," Sarah replied carefully. "What does membership require?" The crystal alien's lights flickered in what might have been amusement. "First, you must understand what you are joining. The Galactic Confederation includes 847 different species. We have maintained peace for over 50,000 years. This peace exists because we all follow the same rules." Zixtara gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the air between them. It showed a map of the galaxy with millions of colored dots representing different worlds and species. Sarah could see that most of the galaxy was already claimed and divided among the various alien races. Each species is given specific territories and resources, the alien continued. Technology is shared and controlled to prevent any one race from becoming too powerful. Military forces are limited and regulated. Most importantly, expansion and colonization follow strict guidelines approved by the Confederation Council. Sarah felt her heart sink. She was beginning to understand what this really meant. You want to control human development. We want to guide it, corrected another alien who had remained silent until now. This one looked completely different from Zixtara. It was more like a giant insect with multiple arms and a head that twitched constantly. Its skin was dark green and covered in what looked like armor plates. "I am Krathnex of the Krelll Collective. My species learned long ago that unlimited growth leads to war and destruction." The Krelll alien moved closer to Sarah, its multiple eyes focusing on her. "Humans are unique, Admiral Chun. Most species develop space travel after they have learned to live in peace with themselves. Humans achieved faster-than-light travel while still fighting wars on their home planet. Most species evolved from prey animals that learned cooperation to survive. Humans evolved from predators that learned to hunt in packs." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. She was beginning to understand why the aliens had come. They were not here to welcome humanity into the galactic community. They were here to put a leash on a dangerous animal. "What exactly are you proposing?" Sarah asked. Zixtara's crystal body pulsed with soft blue light. "Humanity will be allowed to keep Earth and your current 12 colony worlds. You will be given access to certain approved technologies that will improve your quality of life. In return, you will accept Confederation oversight of your military, your expansion, and your research. And if we refuse? Sarah asked, though. She already knew the answer. The insect alien Krathnex clicked his mandibles together in what sounded like laughter. Look around you, Admiral. Our fleet contains more firepower than your entire species has ever produced. We have weapons that could turn your sun into a supernova or freeze your ocean solid, but we do not wish to use them. We prefer peace. Sarah looked out at the alien ships surrounding Earth. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Each one was larger and more advanced than anything humanity had built. Even if every human ship attacked at once, they would be destroyed in minutes. However, Sixthara continued, her voice becoming colder, the Confederation has learned from experience. 3 times in our history, we have allowed dangerous species to develop without proper guidance. Each time, it led to terrible wars that cost millions of lives. We will not make that mistake again. The crystal alien moved to the window and looked down at Earth. Your planet is beautiful, Admiral Chun. Your species has great potential. But you are also the most violent and unpredictable race we have ever encountered. In just 300 years of space travel, you have fought 17 wars among yourselves. You have used nuclear weapons against your own kind. You have poisoned your own atmosphere and stripped entire worlds of resources. Sarah wanted to argue, but she knew the alien was right. Humanity's expansion into space had been marked by conflict and competition. The Mars Colony War, the asteroid belt mining conflicts, the corporate wars around Jupiter's moons. Humans seemed unable to explore the galaxy without fighting each other for control. But we have also achieved incredible things, Sarah said. We have cured diseases, explored dangerous worlds, and built cities among the stars. We have art, music, and literature that celebrates the beauty of existence. Yes, agreed Krathnex. This is why we offer you membership instead of elimination. Your species has value. But that value must be carefully managed. The aliens presented Sarah with a thick document called the Sapient Species Accords. It was hundreds of pages long and written in complex legal language that took her hours to understand. The basic terms were simple but devastating to human freedom. Humanity would be restricted to their current solar system plus 12 designated colony worlds. They could not establish new colonies without Confederation approval. Their military would be limited to police forces and system defense units. No new weapons research would be allowed without alien oversight. Human ships could not travel beyond their assigned territories without special permits. Most importantly, human technology development would be strictly controlled. The aliens would provide certain approved advances in medicine, energy, and agriculture. But humans would be forbidden from researching faster-than-light communication, advanced artificial intelligence, or quantum weapons. These restrictions will remain in place for at least 500 years, Zixthara explained. After that time, if humanity has proven itself peaceful and responsible, some limitations may be lifted. Sarah read through the document again, her anger growing with each page. The aliens were offering humanity a comfortable cage. They would be fed and protected but never allowed to grow beyond what their keepers deemed safe. What about human rights? Sarah asked. What about our freedom to explore and expand? Freedom is a luxury that must be earned, replied Krathnex. Your species will have freedom within the boundaries we set. You will be free to live, to learn, and to grow. But you will not be free to threaten the peace of the galaxy. Sarah realized she had no choice. The alien fleet could destroy human civilization in a matter of hours. Earth's leaders had sent her to negotiate, but there was nothing to negotiate. This was surrender disguised as diplomacy. I need time to consult with my government, Sarah said. Of course, Zixthara replied. You have 72 hours to provide an answer. After that, we will assume humanity has chosen conflict over cooperation. The aliens left Sarah alone with the document and her thoughts. She spent the next 3 days in constant communication with Earth's leaders, the colonial governors, and the military command. Everyone reached the same conclusion. Humanity was not ready for a war against the Galactic Confederation. They had to accept the terms, no matter how unfair they seemed. On the third day, Sarah met with the aliens again. This time, representatives from dozens of different species were present. She saw creatures that looked like walking trees, others that resembled flying jellyfish, and some that were just clouds of glowing gas. All of them watched as she signed the Sapient Species Accords. "Welcome to the Galactic Confederation," Zixtara said as Sarah put down the electronic pen. "Your species is now under our protection and guidance." Sarah looked at the signed document and felt like she had just sold humanity's future. But she also knew it was the only way to ensure that humanity had a future at all. As the alien ships began to leave Earth's orbit, Sarah noticed that several remained behind. These would be the monitoring stations, she realized. The Confederation would be watching humanity's every move, making sure they followed the rules of their new prison. Standing on the observation deck of Luna Station, Sarah watched the last of the alien fleet disappear into space. Around her, Earth looked peaceful and beautiful in the darkness. But she knew that humanity had just lost something precious. They had lost their freedom to choose their own destiny. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but humans would only be allowed to see the small corner that their alien masters deemed safe. Sarah wondered if this was how every species in the Confederation had started. Had they all been free once? Had they all been forced to give up their dreams of unlimited exploration and growth? She thought about her own children and grandchildren. They would grow up in a world where aliens decided what humans could and could not do. They would never know the feeling of pushing beyond boundaries and discovering something new. They would be safe, but they would also be slaves. Sarah made a silent promise as she watched Earth turn slowly in space. Someday, somehow, humanity would be free again. The aliens thought they had tamed the human spirit, but they had only hidden it. Like a fire covered with ash, it would continue to burn. And when the time was right, it would burst into flames again. The Galactic Confederation had made one crucial mistake. They assumed that because they could control human actions, they could also control human thoughts and dreams. But dreams, Sarah knew, were the one thing that could never be caged. And human dreams had always been bigger than any prison. 50 years had passed since Admiral Sarah Chun signed the Sapient Species Accords. Sarah was long dead now, buried on Luna Station with full military honors. Her daughter Lisa had followed in her footsteps, climbing through the ranks of what was now called the Human Defense Corps. The word Earth had been removed from the name at the suggestion of the Galactic Peacekeepers. They said it sounded too aggressive. Lisa Chun was now 45 years old and commanded the monitoring station above New Gettysburg, one of humanity's 12 allowed colony worlds. She had grown up under alien rule, but unlike many of her generation, she remembered her mother's stories about the time before the Confederation. Sarah had told her daughter about the dreams humans once had, about exploring the galaxy and building something great among the stars. New Gettysburg was a mining world, named after an ancient Earth battle where brave soldiers had died fighting for freedom. The irony was not lost on Lisa. The planet was rich in rare minerals that were essential for building, faster than light engines and quantum computers. Under the Accords, humans were allowed to mine these materials, but only in amounts approved by the Confederation Council. The mining operation was run by Director Marcus Webb, a tough man in his 60s who had worked the asteroid mines before the aliens came. He had thick hands covered in scars and a voice roughened by years of breathing recycled air in spacesuits. Marcus hated the aliens with a passion that burned bright after 5 decades of restrictions. "Commander Chun," Marcus said as he entered Lisa's office in the orbital station, "we have a problem." Lisa looked up from her reports. Every month she had to file detailed accounts of mining output, population growth, and resource consumption. The aliens wanted to know everything about human activities. "What kind of problem, Marcus?" "The kind that's going to make our alien friends very unhappy," Marcus replied with a grim smile. "My team's found something big, really big." Marcus activated the holographic display on Lisa's desk. It showed a three-dimensional map of New Gettysburg's underground mineral deposits. Deep beneath the planet's surface, a massive vein of rare Earth elements stretched for hundreds of kilometers. "Sweet mercy," Lisa whispered. "How much are we talking about?" "Enough to supply the entire human fleet for the next 1,000 years," Marcus said. "Enough to build quantum computers that could outthink anything the aliens have. Enough to power weapons that could punch holes through their crystal ships." Lisa stared at the display. This was exactly what humanity needed to break. Free from alien control? But she also knew what would happen when the peacekeepers found out about it. And they would find out. The aliens monitored everything. "Have you told anyone else about this?" Lisa asked. "Just my senior mining supervisors," Marcus replied. "I want to talk to you first. We both know what the aliens will do when they hear about this." Lisa knew he was right. The galactic peacekeepers would declare the deposit excessive for human developmental needs and take control of it. They had done it before on other worlds. Whenever humans found something valuable, the aliens found reasons to confiscate it. The peacekeepers were the enforcement arm of the Galactic Confederation. They wore sleek silver armor and carried weapons that could disintegrate matter at the molecular level. Their ships were fast and deadly, designed to respond quickly to any threat to galactic peace. Most peacekeepers were Vorthok, a species that looked like tall, thin humanoids with gray skin and no hair. They had cold, calculating minds and showed no emotion when carrying out their duties. "We have to report it," Lisa said finally. "If we don't, and they find out later, things will be much worse for everyone on this planet." Marcus slammed his fist on the desk. "Damn it, Lisa. How long are we going to keep bending over for these bastards?" That mineral deposit could change everything for humanity. It could give us the power to stand up and fight back. "And get everyone killed in the process," Lisa replied. "You've seen what their weapons can do. Remember what happened on Siri's station when the miners tried to resist?" Marcus's face darkened. Everyone in human space knew about Siri's station. The asteroid miners had refused to hand over a shipment of processed uranium that the peacekeepers wanted for their own use. The alien response had been swift and brutal. They had used some kind of energy weapon that turned the entire station into dust in seconds. 3,000 humans had died instantly. That was different, Marcus argued. They were just a few thousand miners on an isolated station. New Gettysburg has 2 million people. The aliens wouldn't dare ... wouldn't they? Lisa interrupted. The Confederation has been very clear about their priorities. Galactic peace comes before individual species. If they think we're becoming a threat, they'll do whatever it takes to stop us. Despite her words, Lisa felt the same anger and frustration that Marcus did. She had spent her entire adult life watching aliens control every aspect of human existence. They decided where humans could live, what they could build, and how they could grow. Every human innovation had to be approved by alien scientists who treated them like children playing with dangerous toys. The next morning, Lisa filed her report about the mineral discovery. Within hours, a peacekeeper fleet appeared in orbit around New Gettysburg. The flagship was a massive ship called the Eternal Vigilance, commanded by Peacekeeper Prime Zethkal. Zethkal was a typical Vorthak, 7 feet tall with skin like polished stone and eyes that glowed with pale blue light. He had been overseeing human space for 20 years and had a reputation for strict enforcement of Confederation law. When he spoke, his voice was flat and emotionless, like a computer reading a technical manual. "Commander Chun," Zethkal said, as his holographic image appeared in Lisa's office, "you have reported the discovery of significant mineral deposits on New Gettysburg. The Confederation Council has reviewed your findings and determined that these resources exceed human requirements." Lisa felt her heart sink, but she tried to keep her voice steady. "With respect, Prime Zethkal, these minerals are essential for our technological development. The Accords guarantee humanity the right to use resources found in our assigned territories. The Accords also state that resource extraction must serve legitimate developmental needs," the alien replied coldly. The amount of rare Earth elements you have discovered is far beyond what your species requires for peaceful purposes. Such quantities could only be used for military applications. Our mining equipment is old and inefficient, Lisa argued. We need these materials to upgrade our technology and improve life for our colonists. Zethkal's glowing eyes fixed on her. Commander Chen, do not insult my intelligence. I have studied human psychology and behavior for decades. I know exactly what your species would do with such resources. You would build weapons, military ships, and quantum computers designed for warfare. Lisa wanted to scream at the aliens. Arrogance, but she forced herself to remain calm. The Confederation has always said that humans could develop as long as we remain peaceful. How can we prove our peaceful intentions if you won't allow us to advance? You can prove your peaceful intentions by accepting our decision without resistance, Zethkal replied. The mineral deposits will be extracted under Confederation supervision. The resources will be distributed among various member species according to galactic need. And what about the needs of New Gettysburg's colonists? Lisa asked. These people have worked for decades to build their homes here. This discovery could have improved their lives immeasurably. Their lives will continue as before, the alien said dismissively. The Confederation will ensure that they receive adequate resources for their basic needs. They require nothing more. Lisa realized that arguing was pointless. The aliens had already made their decision. They would take the minerals and leave humanity with just enough to survive, but never enough to grow strong. Over the next several weeks, peacekeeper ships landed on New Gettysburg's surface. Alien mining equipment was brought down from orbit. Machines that could extract minerals 100 times faster than human technology. The aliens worked quickly and efficiently, stripping the valuable deposits from the planet's crust, the human. Miners were forced to watch as their discovery was stolen from them. Some tried to protest, but peacekeeper guards quickly silenced any resistance. Marcus Webb led a group of miners in a peaceful demonstration outside the main mining facility. The peacekeepers dispersed the crowd with sonic weapons that left the humans writhing on the ground in agony. This is what galactic peace looks like, Marcus said to Lisa as she helped him to his feet after the sonic attack. His ears were bleeding and his hands shook from the aftereffects of the weapon. We're not members of the Confederation. We're prisoners. Lisa helped Marcus to the medical station where human doctors treated the injured miners with primitive equipment. The aliens had medical technology that could heal the sonic weapon damage in minutes, but they did not share it with humans. Such advanced medicine was deemed unnecessary for human development. As the weeks passed, Lisa watched the alien mining operation with growing anger. They were not just taking the rare Earth elements. They were also extracting other valuable minerals that the original survey had missed. The aliens were strip mining the planet, taking everything of value and leaving behind empty holes in the ground. The worst part was the efficiency of it all. The aliens treated the theft as a routine administrative task. They filed reports, followed procedures, and maintained detailed records of everything they stole. To them, this was not theft at all. It was resource management for the greater good of the galaxy. Commander Chun, one of her junior officers said as he entered her office, I've been monitoring alien communications. They're planning to establish a permanent mining base on New Gettysburg. Lisa looked up sharply. A permanent base? For how long? Indefinitely, the officer replied. They found additional deposits deeper underground. They want to make sure humans never get access to them. Lisa stared out the window at the alien ships in orbit. More were arriving every day, bringing fresh equipment and additional personnel. The peacekeepers were not just taking the minerals, they were taking the planet itself. That night, Lisa called an emergency meeting with the senior staff of New Gettysburg. Mining supervisors, colonial administrators, and military officers gathered in the conference room of the orbital station. Everyone looked tired and angry. We all know why we're here, Lisa began. The aliens are stealing our world piece by piece. They're not going to stop with the minerals. They'll find excuses to take everything else too. Director Webb spoke up from across the table. What can we do about it? We've tried peaceful protests, legal challenges, and diplomatic appeals. Nothing works. They just ignore us or threaten us with force. Maybe it's time to stop playing by their rules, suggested Colonel Harrison, the senior military officer, on New Gettysburg. He was a veteran of the corporate wars and had fought in the asteroid belt before the aliens came. We have people, we have some weapons, and we know this planet better than they do. You're talking about armed resistance, Lisa said. That would be suicide. They could call in the entire peacekeeper fleet and turn this planet into a crater. So we just sit here and let them take everything? Webb asked bitterly. Let them turn us into slaves in our own homes. Lisa looked around the table at the faces of the other humans. She saw anger, frustration, and desperation. These were good people who had worked hard to build something on New Gettysburg. They deserved better than this. There might be another way, Lisa said slowly. Something my mother told me before she died. She said there were others in human space who were working on long-term plans. People who never accepted the Accords, who've been preparing for the day when we could fight. Beck, what kind of plans? Colonel Harrison asked. I don't know the details, Lisa admitted. But she said there were secret research facilities, hidden bases, and people who've been developing technologies the aliens don't know about. She said that someday, when humanity was ready, we would have our chance. The room fell silent as everyone considered her words. The idea of secret human resistance was both exciting and terrifying. If such plans existed, they represented hope for human freedom. But if the aliens discovered them, the consequences would be catastrophic. How do we contact these people? Webb asked. I'm not sure we can, Lisa replied. But I think they'll contact us when the time is right. Until then, we have to endure, we have to survive. And we have to remember that this isn't forever. As the meeting ended and the staff returned to their duties, Lisa remained in the conference room alone. She looked out at the alien ships surrounding New Gettysburg and made a silent promise. Someday, humanity would be strong enough to take back what was theirs. Someday, the galaxy would learn that humans were not meant to be caged. But for now, they had to wait. They had to watch as the aliens stripped their world bare and took everything they had worked for. They had to smile and cooperate while burning, with rage inside. They had to be patient while their dreams were slowly strangled. The Galactic Confederation thought they had broken the human spirit. They thought they had turned humanity into just another obedient member species, but they were wrong. Human anger was like a slow-burning fire, getting hotter and more dangerous. With each passing year, the aliens would learn eventually that there was a difference between compliance and surrender. And when that day came, they would discover just how dangerous a caged human could be. The emergency call came to Lisa Chun at 3 a.m, ship time. She was pulled from deep sleep by the urgent beeping of her communication device. The voice on the other end belonged to Captain Rodriguez, commander of the supply ship Aurora's Dawn, which had just arrived from Eden Prime. Commander Chun, you need to hear this immediately, Rodriguez said, his voice shaking. Eden Prime is gone. The whole colony is dying. Lisa sat up in her bed, instantly awake. Eden Prime was one of humanity's most successful agricultural worlds, home to nearly 500,000 people. The planet's fertile soil and perfect climate had made it the breadbasket of human space. Eden Prime fed not just its own people, but also supplied food to 6 other human colonies. What do you mean, gone? Lisa asked as she pulled on her uniform. The Krelll came 3 weeks ago, Rodriguez continued. They demanded that Eden Prime hand over 80% of its grain harvest to feed some famine on their world of Nixtar. When the colonists refused, the Krelll released something into the atmosphere. Some kind of biological weapon that sterilizes the soil. Lisa felt her blood turn cold. The Krelll were one of the founding members of the Galactic Confederation, an insect-like species that thought with a collective mind. They had always been strict about following Confederation law, but they had never used biological weapons against humans before. Are you sure about this? Lisa asked. I saw it with my own eyes, Rodriguez replied. The crops are all dead. Brownfields as far as you can see? The soil won't grow anything now, not even weeds. The colonists are starving, Commander. They've got maybe 6 weeks of food left in storage. Lisa closed her eyes and tried to process what she was hearing. Eden Prime had been humanity's most productive world. If the Krelll had destroyed its ability to grow food, it would affect the entire human population. Other colonies depended on Eden Prime's surplus to feed their people. What was the official justification? Lisa asked, though she already suspected the answer. The Krelll said it was a legal requisition under Confederation Emergency Protocol 7, Rodriguez said bitterly. They claimed their world was experiencing a famine that threatened the survival of their species. Under the Accords, member species are required to provide assistance in such emergencies, even if it means letting our own people starve? Lisa asked. According to the Krelll, Eden Prime was hoarding surplus food while a Confederation member species faced extinction, Rodriguez continued. When Governor Martinez refused to comply, they declared the colonists in violation of their membership obligations. Lisa knew Governor Elena Martinez personally. She was a tough woman in her 70s who had helped establish Eden Prime 40 years ago. Elena had fought through droughts, floods, and equipment failures to build the colony into a thriving agricultural center. She would never have refused aid to truly starving people. There's more, Commander, Rodriguez said quietly. I managed to speak with some of the colonists before I left. They said the Krelll demand wasn't really about famine relief. The Krelll world has plenty of food. They just wanted to test how far they could push human compliance. Lisa felt rage building in her chest. The aliens were not content with stealing human resources and limiting human growth. Now they were actively destroying human colonies to prove their power. How many people have died? Lisa asked. 12,000 so far. Rodriguez replied, mostly children and elderly. The colonists are trying to evacuate, but the peacekeepers have restricted their travel permits. They say the evacuation would violate population distribution agreements. Lisa wanted to scream. The aliens were not just destroying Eden Prime. They were trapping the colonists there to die slowly of starvation. It was genocide disguised as administrative policy. Get me everything you have about this, Lisa ordered. Documentation, witness statements, recorded communications, everything. Already prepared, Commander, Rodriguez said. But I have to warn you. The official Confederation report says the biological agent was deployed accidentally during routine agricultural assistance. They're claiming it was a tragic mistake. A mistake that just happened to occur after the colonists refused their demands, Lisa said sarcastically. The timing is listed as coincidental in the official record. Rodriguez confirmed that Lisa spent the next several hours reviewing the files that Rodriguez had brought from Eden Prime. The evidence was overwhelming. The Krelll had deliberately deployed a biological weapon to punish human disobedience. They had murdered thousands of innocent people and condemned an entire world to death, but the official Confederation records told a different story. According to the alien bureaucrats, Eden Prime had experienced an unfortunate accident during a humanitarian aid mission. The Krelll had been trying to help improve crop yields when a containment failure released an experimental growth inhibitor into the atmosphere. The Confederation Council expressed deep regret for the tragic incident. Lisa knew that protesting through official channels would be pointless. The aliens controlled all the courts, all the administrators, and all the judges. They had written the laws, and they interpreted them however they wanted. Human complaints were always dismissed as misunderstandings or emotional overreactions. That evening, Lisa called her senior staff together for an emergency meeting. She shared the news about Eden Prime and watched as their faces went through the same progression of shock, horror, and rage that she had experienced. "This is it," said Colonel Harrison, slamming his fist on the table. "This is where we draw the line. They've gone from theft to outright murder." "What can we do?" asked Dr. Sarah Kim, the chief medical officer. "If we protest too loudly, they'll just find excuses to punish us too." "Maybe that's exactly what we should do," suggested Marcus Webb, who had requested permission to attend the meeting. "Maybe," It's time to stop being afraid of their punishment. Lisa looked around the table at her people. These were good humans who had spent decades following alien rules and accepting alien authority. But she could see that something had changed in their eyes. The destruction of Eden Prime had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. "I need to tell you all something," Lisa said slowly. "Something my mother shared with me before she died. There are others in human space who have been preparing for this day." She told them about the secret resistance that Sarah Chun had mentioned. Hidden research facilities where human scientists had been developing forbidden technologies. Secret shipyards where new types of warships were being built. Underground networks of people who had never accepted alien rule. "How do we contact them?" Colonel Harrison asked. "We don't," Lisa replied. "They contact us. But first, we need to prove that we're ready to fight. What did you have in mind?" Webb asked. Lisa activated the holographic display on the conference table. It showed the current positions of peacekeeper ships around New Gettysburg. 3 cruisers and a dozen smaller patrol craft, all armed with weapons that could destroy human ships in seconds. "Tomorrow morning, I'm going to broadcast a message to every human world," Lisa said. "I'm going to tell them the truth about Eden Prime. I'm going to tell them that the aliens are not our protectors, they're our enemies." "That's treason under Confederation law," Dr. Kim pointed out. "They'll arrest you immediately." "Let them try," Lisa replied. "Someone has to speak the truth. Someone has to remind humanity what we used to be before the aliens put us in cages." The next morning, Lisa sat in her commander's office and activated the broadcast system. She knew that her words would be transmitted to every human colony, every orbital station, and every ship in human space. She also knew that the peacekeepers would try to stop the transmission within minutes. "People of humanity," Lisa began, looking directly into the camera. "My name is Commander Lisa Chun, daughter of Admiral Sarah Chun, who signed the Sapient Species Accords 50 years ago. I'm speaking to you now to tell you the truth about what happened on Eden Prime." Lisa described the Krelll attack in detail. She explained how the aliens had murdered 12,000 innocent people to prove their power over humanity. She talked about the years of theft, oppression, and humiliation that humans had endured under Confederation rule. "The aliens tell us that we are members of their galactic community," Lisa continued. "But members are not murdered for refusing unreasonable demands. Members are not robbed of their discoveries and achievements. Members are not treated like dangerous animals that must be caged and controlled." The broadcast was reaching millions of humans across dozens of worlds. Lisa could imagine families gathering around their communication screens, listening to words that had been forbidden for 50 years. "We are not members of the Galactic Confederation," Lisa said firmly. "We are prisoners, we are slaves. And it is time for us to remember that humans were not meant to live in chains." 3 minutes into the broadcast, peacekeeper ships began moving toward the orbital station. Lisa could see them on her tactical display, closing in to stop her transmission. She had maybe 60 seconds before they would jam her signal. "The aliens think they have broken our spirit," Lisa continued urgently. "They think we have forgotten how to fight. They think we will accept any abuse as long as they let us live. But they are wrong. Human dignity is not something that can be traded away for safety. Human freedom is not something that can be sold for peace." The first peacekeeper ship reached the station and began electronic jamming procedures. Lisa's signal started to break up, but she kept talking. "Remember Eden Prime?" she said as the transmission began to fail. "Remember that 12,000 humans died because they refused to bow down to alien masters? Remember that we are human and humans do not surrender." The broadcast cut off as peacekeeper troops forced their way into the communication center. Lisa sat back in her chair and waited for them to come for her. She had said what needed to be said. Now others would have to decide what to do with her words. Within an hour, Peacekeeper Prime Zethkal arrived at the station personally. He stood in Lisa's office like a statue of gray stone, his glowing eyes fixed on her with cold anger. "Commander Chun," the alien said, You have violated Section 12 of the Sapient species. Accords by broadcasting seditious material designed to incite rebellion against lawful Confederation authority. I told the truth about Eden Prime, Lisa replied calmly. If the truth is seditious, then maybe your laws are wrong. The incident on Eden Prime was a tragic accident, Zethkal stated. Your deliberate misrepresentation of these events constitutes a serious crime against galactic peace. 12,000 people are dead, Lisa said, standing up to face the alien. Children, families, elderly people who never hurt anyone. Your people murdered them to make a point about human obedience. The Krelll deployment of agricultural enhancement compounds was carried out according to proper safety protocols, the alien replied mechanically. The containment failure was unforeseen and deeply regretted by all parties, Lisa laughed bitterly. You really expect me to believe that lie? You expect humanity to just accept that our people died by accident? I expect humanity to accept? The official findings of the Confederation Council, Zethkal said coldly. Anything else is conspiracy theory and dangerous speculation. And what happens to me now? Lisa asked. You will be transported to a Confederation detention facility for psychological evaluation and reconditioning, the alien replied. Your actions suggest that you have been contaminated by pre-contact human aggression patterns. With proper treatment, you can be rehabilitated. Lisa realized that the aliens were not just going to imprison her. They were going to try to break her mind, to turn her into another compliant human who accepted alien authority without question. You can do whatever you want to me, Lisa said defiantly, but you can't undo what I've already done. Millions of humans heard my broadcast. They know the truth about Eden Prime now. A temporary setback, Zethkal replied. The truth is what the Confederation Council determines it to be. Alternative narratives will be corrected through proper education and guidance. As peacekeeper guards escorted Lisa from her office, she looked out the window at New Gettysburg below. The planet's surface was scarred with alien mining operations, its resources being stripped away and sent to other worlds. Soon, she knew, there would be nothing left but empty holes in the ground. But Lisa also knew that her message had reached human colonies across the galaxy. People would be talking about Eden Prime, asking questions about Confederation justice, wondering if there might be another way to live. The seed of rebellion had been planted. As the peacekeeper transport ship carried her away from New Gettysburg, Lisa thought about her mother's words about secret human resistance. Somewhere out there, she hoped, people were preparing for the day when humanity would fight back. The aliens had made a critical mistake by destroying Eden Prime. They had given humanity something more powerful than weapons or ships. They had given humanity a reason to hate. The war was coming, Lisa realized. It might take years or decades, but it was inevitable now. The aliens had finally pushed too hard, taken too much, killed too many innocent people. Human patience had limits, and those limits had been reached. Eden Prime would not be forgotten. Its dead would not be ignored. And someday, very soon, the galaxy would learn what happened when you backed humans into a corner with nothing left to lose. The rescue came 3 days after Lisa Chun's arrest. She was being held in a peacekeeper detention facility on the asteroid station Omega-7, waiting for transport to a Confederation reconditioning center. The facility was supposed to be escape-proof, protected by energy shields and automated defense systems that could destroy any approaching ship. Lisa sat in her cell, a small gray room with no windows and a single dim light. She had expected to spend months or years in alien captivity, having her mind slowly reprogrammed until she became another obedient human puppet. But at 0347 hours station time, explosions began echoing through the facility's corridors. The first sign that something was wrong came when the lights went out. Emergency power kicked in a few seconds later, bathing everything in red light. Then Lisa heard sounds she had not heard in 50 years. The distinctive whine of human plasma cannons and the crack of kinetic rifles. Her cell door suddenly melted away, dissolved by some kind of molecular acid. A figure in black combat armor stepped through the opening, carrying weapons that Lisa did not recognize. The armor was sleek and advanced, far beyond anything the Confederation had allowed humans to build. "Commander Chun?" the figure asked, lifting the helmet visor to reveal the face of a young woman with short brown hair and determined eyes. "I'm Captain Sarah Voss, Human Liberation Fleet. We're here to get you out." Lisa stared at the woman in shock. "Human Liberation Fleet? I've never heard of that organization." "Most people haven't," Captain Voss replied as she helped Lisa to her feet. "We've been operating in the shadows for the past 30 years, preparing for this day. Your broadcast 3 days ago was the signal we were waiting for." As they moved through the detention facility's corridors, Lisa saw the aftermath of a battle, unlike anything she had ever witnessed. Peacekeeper guards lay unconscious or dead, their advanced armor and weapons useless against the human attackers. The facility's automated defense systems had been completely disabled. "How is this possible?" Lisa asked as they ran. "Human technology isn't advanced enough to penetrate peacekeeper defenses." "It is now," Captain Voss replied with a grim smile. "We've had 50 years to work on it. While the aliens thought they were keeping us under control, some of us were getting ready for war." They reached the facility's docking bay, where Lisa saw something that made her heart race with excitement. 3 human ships were docked there, but they looked nothing like the crude vessels she was familiar with. These ships were sleek and deadly, with armor that seemed to bend light around it and weapons that hummed with barely contained energy. "Welcome to the HSF Retribution," Captain Voss said as they boarded the largest ship. "Quantum drive, adaptive armor, and firepower that can punch through a peacekeeper cruiser like paper." The ship's bridge was a marvel of advanced technology. Holographic displays showed tactical information with incredible detail. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, their equipment far superior to anything Lisa had seen before. These were not the restricted, monitored humans she was used to. These were warriors. "Captain Voss," one of the crew members called out. "Peacekeeper reinforcements incoming." 3 cruisers and a battleship. "Let them come," Voss replied calmly. "It's time to show the galaxy what humans can really do." Lisa watched in amazement as the human ships engaged the peacekeeper fleet. The alien vessels were larger and theoretically more powerful, but the human ships moved like predators hunting prey. They used tactics that the aliens had never seen before, appearing and disappearing like ghosts, striking from impossible angles. The first peacekeeper cruiser exploded within minutes, its shields overwhelmed by concentrated fire from weapons that seemed to ignore conventional defenses. The second cruiser tried to retreat, but human fighters swarmed around it like angry wasps, their pilots showing skills that decades of alien suppression had not managed to destroy. "How long have you been building ships like this?" Lisa asked. "Captain Voss?" "The first prototype was completed 15 years ago," Voss replied as she watched the battle unfold. "We built them in hidden facilities throughout human space. Asteroid mining stations that were really shipyards. Research laboratories disguised as agricultural centers. The aliens never suspected because they thought they had us completely under control. The peacekeeper battleship, seeing its escorts destroyed, tried to use its massive firepower to overwhelm the human ships. But the human vessels simply weren't there when the alien weapons fired. They moved with impossible speed and agility, their quantum drives allowing them to appear anywhere on the battlefield in seconds. "The aliens always underestimated human adaptability," Voss continued. "They thought that because they could control our official technology, they could control all our technology. They forgot that humans are very good at hiding things from their enemies." Lisa realized she was witnessing something historic. This was not just a rescue operation. This was the beginning of a war that would reshape the galaxy. For 50 years, humans had been forced to live as prisoners in their own space. Now they were fighting back with weapons and ships that the aliens had never imagined. "Where did you get the resources for all this?" Lisa asked. "The aliens monitor every mining operation, every factory, every research facility." "They monitor the official ones," Voss said with a slight smile. "But humans have been miners and builders for thousands of years. We know how to dig tunnels, how to hide factories, how to make things disappear from inventory records. The aliens are very good at bureaucracy, but they're not very good at understanding human creativity. The last peacekeeper ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The human fleet had won a complete victory without losing a single vessel. Lisa could hardly believe what she had witnessed. The supposedly invincible peacekeepers had been destroyed by humans using technology they didn't even know existed. "This is just the beginning," Captain Voss said, as the human ships prepared to leave the battle zone. "Your broadcast about Eden Prime has reached every human colony. People are angry, and they're ready to fight. Resistance cells are activating across human space." As the Retribution jumped to faster-than-light speed, Lisa found herself in the ship's briefing room with Captain Voss and several other officers. They showed her holographic displays that revealed the true scope of the human resistance, hidden bases on dozens of worlds, secret shipyards in remote asteroid fields, research facilities buried deep underground where human scientists had been developing technologies that violated every restriction in the sapient species accords. For half a century, while most humans lived under alien rule, others had been preparing for rebellion. "We call it Project Prometheus," explained Commander Jake Morrison, a grizzled veteran who looked like he had been fighting aliens his entire life. "Named after the mythological figure who stole fire from the gods. We've been stealing technology, adapting it, improving it, and preparing for the day when we could use it. The aliens made one critical mistake," added Dr. Elena Vasquez, who appeared to be the fleet's chief scientist. "They thought that because they could limit our official research, they could limit our understanding. But human curiosity cannot be stopped by laws and regulations. We studied everything they brought to our worlds. We learned how their technology worked. And then we built better versions." Lisa looked at the displays showing human ship designs that were clearly superior to anything the Confederation used. "How many ships do you have currently operational?" "About 200, Commander Morrison replied. "In various stages of construction." "Another 500. By the end of the year, we'll have a fleet of over 1,000 ships, all equipped with technology the aliens have never seen before." But that's not nearly enough to fight the entire Galactic Confederation," Lisa pointed out. "They have thousands of worlds and millions of ships." "Numbers aren't everything," Dr. Vasquez said. "The aliens have been at peace for 50,000 years. They've forgotten how to fight real wars. Their tactics are old, their strategies are predictable, and their technology has become stagnant because they've had no serious challenges. Humans, on the other hand, have been studying war for our entire existence," Captain Voss added. "We've spent 50 years analyzing alien weaknesses, learning their patterns and developing countermeasures for their weapons. When this war begins, we'll have advantages they can't even imagine." The briefing continued for hours as the human officers explained their plans. It was not just about building ships and weapons. They had spent decades infiltrating alien facilities, gathering intelligence, and establishing support networks throughout Confederation space. They knew which alien species were unhappy with Confederation rule and might be turned into allies. They knew where the aliens stored their resources and how their supply lines operated. "The key is not to fight a conventional war," Commander Morrison explained. "We can't win by building bigger fleets and having massive space battles. We have to fight like humans have always fought when facing superior enemies. We have to be smarter, faster, and more ruthless than they expect." "Guerrilla warfare on a galactic scale," Lisa realized. "Exactly," Captain Voss confirmed. "Hit their supply lines, destroy their communication networks, turn their own technology against them, make them afraid to leave their home systems. Show the galaxy that the Great Confederation can't even control one small human species." As the Retribution traveled through hyperspace toward a secret human base, Lisa thought about everything she had learned. The Resistance was far more advanced and widespread than she had ever imagined. They had weapons that could destroy peacekeeper ships, technology that violated every alien restriction, and plans that could bring down the entire Confederation, but she also realized that this war would cost millions of lives, both human and alien. The Confederation would not surrender easily. They would use every weapon at their disposal to crush human rebellion. Entire worlds might be destroyed before the fighting ended. "Are you ready for what's coming?" Captain Voss asked, as if reading Lisa's thoughts. "This won't be like the corporate wars or colonial conflicts humans fought before the aliens came. This will be total war across the galaxy. Billions of people will die." "The aliens made that choice when they destroyed Eden Prime," Lisa replied. "Firmly, when they murdered innocent people to prove their power over us. We didn't start this war, but we're going to finish it." "Good," Voss said with approval. "Because we're going to need leaders who understand what we're fighting for." "Your mother signed the accords that put humanity in chains. Maybe it's time for her daughter to be the one who breaks them." The ship dropped out of hyperspace near what looked like an empty asteroid field. But as they approached, Lisa could see that it was actually a massive hidden base carved into the largest asteroid. Hundreds of human ships were docked there, with more under construction in concealed shipyards. "Welcome to Firebase Alpha," Captain Voss said. "One of 12 major bases we've built in secret over the past 20 years. From here, we coordinate resistance operations across 3 sectors of human space." As Lisa looked at the base, she realized that the war had already begun. The aliens just didn't know it yet. For 50 years, they had believed they controlled humanity completely. They thought humans were domesticated, broken, and harmless. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The prey had become predators, and the hunt was about to begin. The galaxy would never be the same again. Lisa smiled as she watched human fighters patrol the asteroid field. After 50 years of humiliation and oppression, humanity was finally ready to show the aliens what they really were. Not victims, not prisoners, not pets to be controlled and managed. They were humans, and humans did not forgive, they did not forget. And they definitely did not surrender. 6 months after Lisa Chun's rescue, the Human Liberation Fleet was ready to send their message to the galaxy. Firebase Alpha had become the command center for the largest military operation in human history. Admiral Lisa Chun, promoted after proving her commitment to the cause, stood in the main command center, watching holographic displays that showed human fleets across dozens of star systems. The plan was simple in concept but devastating in execution. At exactly 1200 hours Galactic Standard Time, every peacekeeper monitoring station in human space would be destroyed simultaneously. Supply convoys carrying resources stolen from human worlds would be ambushed. Communication relays that allowed the aliens to coordinate their activities would be turned into expanding clouds of debris. "All fleet commanders report ready," Captain Voss announced from her position at the tactical station. She had been promoted to Admiral Voss and now commanded the 3rd Attack Fleet. "Operation Liberation is go in 30 seconds. Lisa looked around the command center at the faces of the men and women who had spent their lives preparing for this moment. These were not the broken, compliant humans the aliens expected. These were warriors who had hidden their true nature for 50 years, waiting for the chance to show the galaxy what they really were. "Begin Operation Liberation," Lisa ordered across human space. The carefully coordinated attack began. Peacekeeper stations that had monitored human activities for decades suddenly found themselves under assault by ships that appeared out of nowhere. The aliens had grown comfortable in their superiority, confident that humans lacked both the technology and the will to resist. They were wrong on both counts. The monitoring station above New Gettysburg, where Lisa had once served, was the first to die. Human stealth ships materialized around the alien facility and opened fire with weapons that tore through peacekeeper shields like they were made of paper. The station's automated distress call was cut off after 3 seconds on the planet. Below, human ground forces emerged from hidden bunkers and began destroying alien mining equipment. The peacekeepers had taken everything valuable from New Gettysburg, but they had left the planet's population alive. That population now turned on their oppressors with 50 years of accumulated rage. "Admiral Chun," one of the communication officers called out, "We're receiving reports from all sectors. Peacekeeper casualties are running at 97%. Total tactical surprise achieved, Lisa nodded grimly. The aliens had never expected humans to be capable of such coordinated violence. They had seen human compliance for so long that they had forgotten humans were originally predators who had fought their way to the top of their planet's food chain. The second phase of the operation began an hour later. Human fleets that had been hiding in the outer reaches of various star systems revealed themselves and began attacking alien supply lines. Convoys carrying resources stolen from human worlds found themselves facing warships they had never seen before. Admiral Morrison's second fleet intercepted a massive Krelll convoy near the Proxima system. 50 alien cargo ships protected by 20 peacekeeper escorts were carrying grain that had been taken from human agricultural worlds. The convoy's commander probably expected any human attack to be easily repelled. Instead, the human ships used tactics that the galaxy had never seen. They attacked from multiple directions simultaneously, their quantum drives allowing them to appear anywhere on the battlefield instantly. The Krelll ships, designed for their collective hive mind, could not adapt quickly enough to counter human unpredictability. Enemy convoy destroyed, Morrison reported over the communication network. Cargo ships eliminated. All escort vessels destroyed, no human casualties. Similar reports flooded in from across human space. Alien supply lines were being systematically destroyed by human forces that fought with a ferocity and intelligence that shocked their enemies. The Confederation had grown soft during their 50,000 years of peace. They had forgotten that warfare was about more than superior technology, but the real message was being prepared for transmission from Firebase Alpha. Lisa stood before a communication array that would broadcast her words to every inhabited system in the galaxy. This time, there would be no peacekeepers to cut off her signal. "People of the galaxy," Lisa began, her voice carrying to billions of alien beings across thousands of worlds. "I am Admiral Lisa Chun of the human species. For 50 years, humanity has lived under the oppression of the Galactic Confederation. We have been restricted, monitored, and controlled like dangerous animals in a zoo." The holographic displays around the command center showed alien communication networks carrying her transmission throughout Confederation space. She could imagine the shock and confusion as aliens who had considered humans helpless prey suddenly realized they were listening to a predator. "The Confederation told us that we were members of a great galactic community," Lisa continued. "But members are not murdered for refusing unreasonable demands. Members are not robbed of their resources and achievements. Members are not treated like prisoners in their own homes." Lisa paused for a moment, thinking of Eden Prime and the 12,000 innocent people who had died there. Their deaths had awakened something in humanity that the aliens should have left sleeping. 6 months ago, the Krelll species murdered 12,000 humans on the world of Eden Prime. They used biological weapons to punish our people for refusing to let their children starve. The Confederation Council called it an accident. We call it genocide. Reports continued to flow in from the ongoing military operations. Human forces were winning victory after victory against alien defenders, who had no idea how to fight an enemy that refused to follow their rules. Peacekeeper fleets were being destroyed by ships that appeared out of nowhere and vanished before effective retaliation was possible. "For 50 years you believed you had tamed humanity?" Lisa said, her voice growing harder. "You thought we were broken, domesticated, harmless? You were wrong. We were never tamed. We were patient, we were learning, we were preparing." The tactical displays showed the scope of human preparation. Secret bases throughout the galaxy were revealing themselves, launching fleets that had been hidden for decades. Research facilities that the aliens had never suspected existed were producing weapons and ships at an incredible rate. "While you watched our official activities, we were building in the shadows," Lisa continued. "While you monitored our permitted research, we were developing technologies you never imagined. While you congratulated yourselves on controlling human aggression, we were studying your weaknesses and planning your downfall." Admiral Voss approached Lisa with a status report. "All primary objectives achieved, Admiral. Peacekeeper monitoring Capability in human space has been reduced by 94%. Supply line disruption is at 87% effectiveness. Enemy communications are in chaos. Lisa nodded but continued her broadcast. The military victories were important, but the real message was what came next. The Galactic Confederation is finished, Lisa announced to the galaxy. Your 50,000 years of imposed peace end today. Humanity will no longer submit to your authority. We will no longer accept your restrictions. We will no longer pretend that you are our superiors. On the tactical displays, Lisa could see Confederation fleets beginning to respond to the human attacks. But their responses were slow and predictable, following tactical doctrines that had not changed in millennia. Human commanders who had studied those doctrines for decades were easily countering every alien move. You have a choice, Lisa continued. You can accept the new reality and negotiate with humanity as equals, or you can try to maintain your domination through force. If you choose force, you will learn what happens when you threaten a species that evolved by defeating every predator on their planet. The first major Confederation response came in the Alpha Centauri system, where a Zephyrian battle fleet attempted to retake the mining facilities that humans had liberated. The alien fleet consisted of 12 capital ships and 40 escorts, commanded by experienced officers who had fought in the last interspecies conflict centuries ago. They faced a human defense force of only 8 ships commanded by Admiral Torres, a former mining engineer who had spent 30 years secretly studying Zephyrian tactics. The battle lasted less than an hour. Admiral Chun, Torres reported over the communication network. Enemy fleet eliminated. Their crystal ships are beautiful, but they shatter real nice when you hit them with quantum torpedoes. Lisa smiled. Grimly, the aliens were learning that their technological advantages meant nothing when they faced an enemy that understood their weaknesses better than they understood human strengths. The humans you thought you knew were an act, Lisa continued her broadcast. We showed you what you wanted to see, compliant citizens who accepted your authority. But underneath that act, we remained what we have always been. We are hunters, we are survivors. We are the species that looked at a galaxy full of older, more advanced civilizations and decided we belonged here too. More reports arrived from across human space. Alien mining operations were being destroyed or captured. Peacekeeper garrisons were surrendering rather than face human assault forces that fought with tactics they could not understand. The careful system of control that the Confederation had built over 50 years was collapsing in a single day. Some of you may be wondering if humanity can be reasoned with, Lisa said, her voice becoming almost conversational. If perhaps this is all a misunderstanding that can be resolved through diplomacy, let me be clear, we are beyond reason. We are beyond negotiation. We are beyond forgiveness. The holographic displays showed the advancing positions of human fleets throughout the galaxy. They were not just attacking Confederation forces in human space. They were pushing into alien territory, liberating worlds that had been oppressed by Confederation policies, offering protection to species that had grown tired of alien domination. We offered you partnership 50 years ago, continued. You chose to make us your prisoners instead. We showed you restraint and patience for half a century. You mistook our self-control for weakness. We tried to prove we could be civilized. Members of your galactic community, you responded by murdering our children. Admiral Voss approached with another report. Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from peacekeeper forces in 17 systems. Some of their commanders are asking for terms. No terms, Lisa replied firmly. They surrender unconditionally or they die? Pass that message to all fleet commanders. You had 50,000 years to learn wisdom, Lisa said to the galaxy. Instead, you chose to learn arrogance. You had the chance to guide humanity's development through partnership and mutual respect. Instead, you chose oppression and control. You could have had our friendship. You chose to earn our hatred. The tactical situation was becoming clear. Confederation forces throughout human space were either destroyed, retreating, or surrendering. The aliens had built their entire system of control on the assumption that humans could never effectively resist. That assumption had been catastrophically wrong. "The Galactic Confederation is hereby dissolved," Lisa announced. "Your councils, your laws, your treaties, and your authority over other species are null and void. Any attempt to restore Confederation control will be met with overwhelming force." Reports began arriving of alien civilian populations fleeing border systems as human fleets advanced. The predators had become prey, and they did not like the feeling. "In place of your failed Confederation, humanity offers a new arrangement," Lisa continued. "Individual species may negotiate bilateral agreements with us based on mutual respect and equality. Those who choose cooperation will find us generous partners. Those who choose continued hostility will find us implacable enemies." The broadcast was nearing its end, but Lisa had one final message for the galaxy. "Remember this day," she said, her voice filled with quiet menace. "Remember that you created this situation through your own choices. Remember that humanity offered you peace and you chose war. Remember that we tried to be civilized and you forced us to become savage." Lisa paused, looking directly into the camera as if she could see every alien being in the galaxy. "We are human," she said simply. "We do not forgive. We do not forget, and we never, ever surrender." The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. In a single day, the Galactic Confederation had lost control of human space and faced the reality that their greatest fear had come true. The dangerous species they had tried to contain had broken free and revealed capabilities that no one had suspected. The age of human dominance in the galaxy had begun. And it had started. With a simple message, "We're done playing nice.